Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range with a very cool shotgun. This is the Genesis 12. The Genesis 12 is a shotgun that was probably made famous by John Wick, the movie character. And it's just a really interesting shotgun that for me kind of changes the game. Now, you'll know that I don't get too excited about new products. There's stuff out there that I enjoy. I like the clone guns and things like that. I can get pretty excited about those, but those are generally not serious tools. Those are fun guns. Well, this one's a fun gun, but it's also a very serious tool that really does change the game for me personally with regards to how I view 12 gauge shotguns. The Gen 12 is based basically on a DPMS Gen 1 type lower, 308 rifle lower. Then it has its own proprietary upper. This one is the PDS and the personal defense shotgun. This one has a Venom Huxworks suppressor, 12 gauge suppressor on it. It is a short recoil shotgun. It only has a 5-inch barrel on the version you see here. And of course, it's finished in flat dark earth and has their new collapsing stock. And this is a short barreled shotgun, guys. So this is an NFA item. But this gun, I recently posted a video of me test firing one in full automatic, and it was just unbelievable how controllable it was. And so now I have the opportunity to play with one and shoot some buckshot out of it, which is going to kick quite a bit more. And I'm really interested to show you guys just how well this thing handles it. And then I'm going to talk about the shotgun I grew up loving, and that is an HK marked early Benelli import, a Super 90, an inertia shotgun. It's not gas operated. This one again is short recoil. And this is going to likely replace that Benelli that I've had over 30 years as my primary shotgun, because it really is that much better. So let's take a closer look at the Gen 12. It uses different magazines. This is a 10-round magazine. They have shorter magazines. They have drums for this thing. And the magazines aren't that wildly expensive, but this is a 10-round magazine, and it has a fixed charging handle right here. And just check this thing out, guys. This thing is so cool. I mean, and I can't even fire this thing in semi-automatic as fast as they fire in fully automatic, which is about 800 rounds a minute. I have a fast trigger finger, but this thing cycles so fast, but yet the recoil impulse is extremely mild. Let's take a closer look. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. What I liked about the Benelli Super 90, still like about it, is it's a very lightweight shotgun that balances very nicely. It is not gas operated, it's inertia driven. So it's basically recoil operated. And if you want to learn more about inertia driven systems like the Super 90, just search for it here on YouTube and you'll find more information about how it works. It's really ingenious. But it's able to take birdshot, like I have loaded into here now, and work almost 100%. Sometimes you'll get like a weak charge or something that'll keep it from cycling, or you'll get a deformed 12 gauge that's kind of, because they're flat on the front, they'll be a little bit deformed. They'll kind of hang up on the feed. So you want to be careful with your ammunition, make sure it's stored properly so it doesn't get damaged. But generally speaking, these things are about as reliable as a 12 gauge gets. Now it can go from birdshot all the way up to buckshot and slugs, which is just incredible because you don't have to adjust gas systems or change springs or anything. It automatically adjusts, and that's part of the inertia system. Well, the Gen 12 has that same capability. We've been running it with birdshot, we've been running it with buckshot. It'll cycle a wide range of shells with no adjustments to gas systems or anything like that. Now, the recoil on this is very much more pronounced than it is on the Gen 12. I'm going to fire a few rounds here for you guys. You can kind of see how the recoil works on the Super 90. So that last round actually walked off the target. Also, when I fire this thing with birdshot, I have to be careful not to pull the trigger too quickly because the bolt velocity slows down considerably and I can overrun the trigger very easily. I don't have that problem with the Gen 12. I can run that thing as fast as I can pull the trigger with birdshot, and it works. So here we have some Spartan double-aught buck. This is some shotgun shells I've had down in the gun room for a while. We're going to give these a try. 10 rounds loaded up. Oh, didn't lock open, but I literally knocked over a challenge steel target that probably weighs 50, 60 pounds. But it's pretty interesting. So I'm probably about 20 yards away from that challenge target, and you can see the group of the 9 pellets of the buckshot. So it's actually grouping nice and tight. It's not throwing the shot everywhere. That's all rounds hitting center of mass from this distance. That's actually pretty impressive. You know, maybe let's see how this groups with birdshot and buckshot as compared to the Super 90, which has the 18-inch barrel. So we just measured it. It's actually closer to 15 yards, the distance we are from the challenge target right now. All right, so I've loaded up some of the Spartan shells. So reloading this is very simple. Just hit the button, magazine will drop free. Take your fresh magazine, insert into the mag well, hit your bolt release right here, just like an AR-15 or an AR-10, and she's ready to go. First one I'm going to send into the target. The rest of them I'm just going to dump into the dirt. It's not locking open on those Spartans. It was on the birdshot. But there you go. All right. That's the group with the buckshot. Let me do one with the Super 90 here really quick. Grab one shell. Drop that in there. I'll aim a little higher. Wow. The Super 90 actually threw them even more wild. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, I have improved cylinder on this. I don't think there's like a choke rating on that. I've not been able to find one anyway. And that suppressor is integral to that whole purpose. But if we walk down here, so here is the Gen 12. I aimed a little higher with the Benelli. We had one here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. So they didn't miss, but we had one way up here, one down here, one here, one here, and then a few more in the center. So I would say probably that extreme spread is about the same. So actually, even though it looks like it might be a little larger, it actually is about the same. So probably about 6, 7 inches. Yeah. So that's actually pretty impressive. For that little tiny short barrel, it's giving similar performance in terms of how it's constricting that shot and delivering it on target accurately at about 15 yards. So just kind of high-level features of the Gen 12. Back here, again, we have this stock that they've made specifically for the shotgun. If you're hoping to pick one of these up for your .308 rifle, they're not available for that purpose right now. So that's the stock. This is a new addition here. If you've seen earlier versions of this, it didn't have this cheek pad. This is a new addition to the stock system. Here you can see the shortened recoil tube or buffer tube that would normally be clear out here for something like an AR-10. During the disassembly, we'll show you what that looks like on the inside with the flat spring and things like that. We have a billet upper and lower. The bottom, the lower, is actually based on a Gen 1 DPMS 308 design. So standard, if you will. Has a fixed charging handle, which you unscrew during disassembly. Across the top, we have a monolithic 1913 rail. Aluminum handguard. We have M-lock here and M-lock here, and one on the bottom. Now, it is a short recoil system, but you can't really actuate it by just pushing on the can. It has a sleeve around the barrel, and the can it's completely different, but it's still a short recoil action. And then the can on this one with the PDS, the can is a Huxworks Ventum 12-gauge shotgun suppressor. Now, it's hard to describe what this sounds like. It's not hearing safe, okay? But it takes that concussion and a very distinct sound that 12-gauge generally makes, and completely changes the signature and, of course, brings that blast and concussion down. And that's not surprising with something as short as a 5-inch barrel on this thing. So there's a lot of unburnt powder going through this can. But it definitely adds to how controllable this thing is, because I have fired them without the can on there, and it definitely has a different recoil impulse to it. This definitely helps to tame that recoil. And again, it brings that sound level down. And if you heard me firing this, you would not think it was a 12-gauge. It doesn't have that distinctive 12-gauge sound to it. It sounds more like, Jason said, a handgun. And I would agree with that. It sounds more like a small caliber, unsuppressed handgun. So Very, very neat. Now it has AR-15 style controls. So you have a selector lever over here. You can manually lock the bolt open by pushing down on the ping pong paddle, release it by pushing up. You'll notice it does not have an ambi selector lever, but you can put one on there if you wanted to. Standard AR-15, AR-10 style mag release right there. Just really, really nice Hogue. Rubberized grip, feels really good on the hand. And it uses a standard AR-10, AR-15 style trigger. So the trigger, you can put a really nice trigger in there if you want to, but the trigger that's in it is actually fairly decent. A little heavy, probably right around 5, 6 pounds. I'd say probably 5.5 pounds. Clean, no over travel, very crisp. So I wouldn't even swap the trigger out for this. For a fighting shotgun, I think the trigger is absolutely perfect. The EOTech that you see on here, it works really good with shotguns. Has a nice large field of view, and the reticle lends itself well for shotguns use. So I really like the EOTech on here. Now that does not come with the gun. All right, so you'll get this gun and a magazine. Additional magazines are affordable, and there's a drum out there that's perpetually out of stock. I've been trying to buy one. Even it is affordable by today's standards. So the only thing that's really not all that affordable is the gun itself. The PDS, as you see it here, is going to be over $5 grand. So yes, I understand this is a ridiculously expensive shotgun. But again, price aside, there is nothing else on the market I've ever fired that comes anywhere close to being like this shotgun. Taking the Gen 12 apart is relatively easy. It's very AR-10-ish in nature, probably because it has a DPMS Gen 1 type lower, which, you know, is a 308 lower. So taking it apart, first of all, you want to make sure that the weapon is empty. So I'm gonna drop the magazine out. Just check that chamber really quick. Yep, and it's empty. So the stock on the PDS collapses with 2 rails on both sides. You'll see that this rail runs right past the disassembly pin. So you're going to want to extend this stock if you have your shotgun equipped with it, and that will free up that pin so now you can push it across. Now, keep in mind that this uses a shortened buffer system, so it's not a full-length buffer tube like you would find on an AR-10. It is shortened, and so it has a flat spring in here, and it is compressed, so it doesn't hinge open like an AR-10. You pop both pins and slide the entire upper half off the bottom, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this rear pin out, and then as I start to pop this front pin, I want to make sure I hold on to everything so it doesn't come flying apart, and then I can just let it come forward, and you'll see that spring that I'm talking about. This just pulls out the rear, and there's your spring. Let's see if I can keep it from rolling away. Next, you want to take the charging handle out of the carrier. Just screws in, and then this will come out. Now, if you look inside of here, you'll see right there by my index finger, that is a fixed ejector. All right, so when the bolt and carrier travel rearward, that'll hit the rear of the case and send it out the ejection port. This is the bolt and carrier, so it looks like a little miniature AR-10 to a degree back here. Obviously, there's no gas key. It is a short recoil system. And then here's a pretty conventional looking 12-gauge bolt head. And it is under spring pressure, which is normal. It has a cotter pin back here and a firing pin like an AR-10. So I'm going to pull the cotter pin out. That will let the firing pin and its spring drop free. Next, I'm just going to push back on this bolt head just a little bit to relieve the spring tension, and I can pull the cam key out. And then this will just slide out of the receiver, out of the bolt, and there's its spring. So that's all you really need to do for basic field maintenance. To put it back together, you just reverse the process. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at the Genesis 12 shotgun. This thing, as I've already said, has blown my mind. I mean, this is a total game changer for me, and I absolutely love it. I actually enjoy shooting it, which is a little bit of a change of pace for me because I haven't enjoyed shooting shotguns since I was a kid in high school. Generally focus on rifles and some handguns. So you'll probably see this thing appear in future videos because I'm going to want to showcase it. I may even take the thing hunting just to see what I can do with it. So stick around. And also, if you have any questions about the Genesis 12, I'll try to answer those questions if you ask them down below. I will stick around for the first couple of days after a video goes live to try and answer the questions you guys may have. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel, the best way to do that is become part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Also, right here, you got the thanks and subscribe button underneath the video player you're watching right now. You can mash either one of those buttons and help support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Thank you for 17 years of support. Please swing by, check out Copper Custom. We'll talk to you guys soon.